Last spring, I lined up 6 5-gallon buckets on my back patio. Same potting mix in every single one. Same tomato transplant. Same variety, same size, bought on the same day. Each bucket got a different homemade fertilizer. And then, I added a 7th bucket. That one got nothing but Miracle-Gro, mixed exactly according to the label. I wanted to know, once and for all, if any of these free fertilizers that people rave about online could actually compete with the stuff I'd been paying for my entire gardening life. And honestly, the results caught me completely off guard. One of those free options didn't just compete with Miracle-Gro. It flat out beat it. I've been gardening for over 12 years now, and for most of that time I was a loyal Miracle-Gro customer. The blue crystals, the hose end sprayer, the whole routine. Every spring I'd walk into the garden center and grab 2 or 3 boxes without even thinking about it. It's just what you did, right? That's what my mom used. That's what every gardening book I read in my 20s told me to use. And look, it works. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Miracle-Gro is garbage, because it's not. My tomatoes grew fine. My peppers produced. Everything was decent. But a few years ago I started paying closer attention to what I was actually spending. Not just on fertilizer, but on all the inputs. The soil amendments, the pest sprays, the seed starting mixes. And when I added it all up at the end of the season, I almost choked. I was spending over $300 a year just to grow vegetables in my own backyard. That didn't sit right with me. The whole reason I started gardening was to save money and be a little more self-sufficient. And here I was, completely dependent on products from the same companies that supply industrial agriculture. So I started experimenting. I tried banana peel water one year, Epsom salt another year, coffee grounds, worm castings I made myself. Some things worked, some didn't. But I never did a real, controlled, side-by-side comparison. Until now. Here's the thing nobody talks about. Fertilizer is one of those costs that just quietly bleeds your wallet year after year. Sure, you don't notice it the way you notice a big purchase because it's $20 here, $15 there. But it adds up. The average home gardener spends somewhere between $60 and $150 a year on fertilizer alone. If you're doing raised beds, containers, a bigger plot, you're looking at even more. And that's just the synthetic stuff. If you go organic, you're paying a premium on top of that. But here's what really got me thinking. To do most of the nutrients your plants need, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, all those trace minerals, they already exist in materials you're throwing away every single week. Kitchen scraps, fireplace ash, grass clippings, eggshells, used coffee grounds from your morning pot. We bag this stuff up and send it to the landfill, and then we drive to the store and buy a manufactured version of, essentially, the same nutrients. When you step back and think about it, that's kind of insane. The fertilizer industry isn't going to advertise that, obviously. Their entire business model depends on you believing that plant nutrition is complicated, that you need their precise formulations, their proprietary blends, their time-release coatings and chelated micronutrients. And sure, there's some science behind those products. But the question I kept coming back to was simple. Is the difference in results actually worth the difference in price? Or are we paying for convenience and marketing? That's what this test was designed to answer. Not with opinions, with actual plants, actual growth, actual fruit production, measured over 8 full weeks under the same conditions. So last February, I decided to actually put the internet's favorite free fertilizers to a real side-by-side test instead of just guessing. I spent about a month researching which homemade fertilizers had the most credibility behind them. Not just random internet hacks, but methods that had at least some basis in soil science or that experienced gardeners had been using for decades. I narrowed it down to 6. Number 1, compost tea. Basically, aged compost steeped in water for 24 to 48 hours. Number 2, banana peel water. Chopped banana peels soaked in water for a few days. Number 3, wood ash dissolved in water. Number 4, used coffee grounds mixed directly into the soil. Number 5, eggshell tea. Crushed eggshells steeped in water for about a week. And number 6, aquarium water. Just the old water from a freshwater fish tank, used straight on the plants with no modifications at all. Each of these is completely free if you already have the source material, and most households do. The compost tea gives you a broad spectrum of nutrients and beneficial microbes. The banana peels are supposedly high in potassium. Wood ash provides potassium and calcium and raises soil pH. Coffee grounds add nitrogen and organic matter. Eggshells are a slow-release calcium source. And aquarium water contains fish waste, which is essentially a diluted, organic, nitrogen-rich liquid fertilizer. The Miracle-Gro control bucket got the standard all-purpose formula, the 24-8-16 blend, mixed at the recommended rate of 1 tablespoon per gallon, applied every 2 weeks exactly as the label says. Every single variable I could control, I controlled. Let me walk you through exactly how I set this up, because if the test isn't fair, the results don't mean anything. I used 7 identical 5-gallon buckets from the hardware store. She drilled 4 drainage holes in the bottom of each one. Same drill bit, same spacing. Filled every bucket with the same bag of organic potting mix. I didn't want to use garden soil because the nutrient content would vary too much between scoops. Potting mix gave me a consistent, relatively neutral starting point. I bought 7 early girl tomato transplants from the same nursery, same flat, roughly the same size. Transplanted all 7 on the same afternoon, unwatered them in with plain water, no fertilizer, and gave them a full week to establish roots before I started any treatments. Now here's where the details matter. For the compost tea, I took about 2 cups of finished compost from my bin, put it in a burlap sack, and steeped it in 2 gallons of water for 36 hours. Stirred it a couple of times. Strained it. Applied about 2 cups to the base of the plant every 2 weeks. For the banana peel water, I chopped up 3 banana peels. I dropped them in a mason jar with about a quart of water and let it sit for 48 hours. Strained out the peels and diluted it 1-to-1 with fresh water before applying. Every 2 weeks, same schedule. The wood ash solution, 1 tablespoon of hardwood ash from my fireplace, dissolved in 1 gallon of water. I let it settle for 24 hours, then poured off the liquid and applied about 2 cups per feeding, every 2 weeks. Be careful with this one. Too much ash raises your pH fast, and most vegetables prefer slightly acidic soil. 1 tablespoon per gallon is plenty. Coffee grounds, this one I handled differently. Instead of making a tea, I mixed about 2 tablespoons of used, dried coffee grounds directly into the top inch of soil every 2 weeks. Lightly scratched them in with a fork and watered normally. Now, most people make a mistake here. They dump a thick layer of wet coffee grounds right on the surface, and it mats down into this dense, moldy layer that actually repels water. You want them dried out first, and you want a thin application. Think light dusting, not a blanket. Eggshell tea. I saved eggshells for about 2 weeks, crushed them into small pieces, and steeped roughly 10 shells worth in a quart of water for 7 days. strained it, applied it full strength, 2 cups every 2 weeks. This is a slow-release approach. Don't expect dramatic short-term results from eggshells alone. It's more of a long game. And the aquarium water, this was the easiest one. Every time I did a partial water change on my 20-gallon freshwater tank, I just collected that old water in a bucket and gave it straight to the plant. About 2 cups every 2 weeks, same as the others. No mixing, no steeping, no prep at all. Just pour. Every bucket sat on the same south-facing patio. Same sunlight exposure. I watered each one with plain tap water between feedings. Same amount, same schedule. I measured plant height every week, counted flowers and fruit sets, noted leaf color, overall vigor, any signs of deficiency or stress. I kept a little notebook by the back door and logged everything, because I knew if I didn't write it down, I'd forget the details and second-guess myself later. But here's where it gets interesting. By week 3, I started seeing real differences. Some of these buckets were pulling ahead, and a couple were clearly struggling. The coffee ground plant was the slowest to take off, which surprised me because everyone online talks about coffee grounds like they're garden gold. The leaves were a little pale. Growth was sluggish. I think what happened is the grounds were tying up nitrogen temporarily as they decomposed. It's a common issue, and it's something most people don't mention when they recommend coffee grounds. The banana peel plant looked fine, healthy green leaves, decent growth, but nothing spectacular. Middle of the pack, same with the eggshell tea. Steady, but not impressive. The wood ash plant was interesting. It grew well for the first 4 weeks, but then I noticed some leaf tip browning, which told me the pH was probably creeping up. If I did this again, I'd cut the ash application to once a month instead of every 2 weeks. Now, the Miracle-Gro bucket. It did exactly what you'd expect. A consistent, steady, predictable growth. Dark green foliage. Good flower production. By week 6, it had set about 11 fruit. Solid performance, no complaints. But 2 of the free options, the compost tea and the aquarium water, were running right there with it. And by week 8, the results were undeniable. All right, this is the part you've been waiting for. Let me take you through how each bucket performed after 8 full weeks. I'm going from worst to best. Coffee grounds came in last. 17 inches of growth, 6 fruit set. Pale leaves for most of the trial. Eggshell tea, next to last. 19 inches, 7 fruit. Fine but underwhelming. Banana peel water, middle of the pack. 21 inches, 9 fruit. Healthy plant, just nothing exceptional. Wood ash, 22 inches, 9 fruit. But that leaf tip burn knocked it down for overall health. Miracle-Gro, 24 inches tall, 11 fruit set, consistently dark green and vigorous. A strong, reliable showing. Compost tea, 25 inches, 12 fruit, just barely edging out the Miracle-Gro across the board. Slightly taller, 1 more fruit, and the root system when I eventually pulled it out was noticeably denser. And then, the aquarium water. 27 inches tall, 14 fruit set. The thickest stem of all 7 plants. Deep green leaves. Vigorous branching. It wasn't even close. So this plant outperformed the Miracle-Gro by 3 inches in height and 3 additional fruit, and the fertilizer cost was literally 0. I was using water I was already throwing away. Let that sink in for a second. The wastewater from a fish tank, water most people pour down the drain, produced better results in my test than the best-selling fertilizer in America. And it makes sense when you think about it. Aquarium water contains nitrogen from fish waste in a form that's immediately available to plant roots. It also contains trace minerals, beneficial bacteria, and micronutrients. It's basically a complete, living fertilizer. And the compost tea, which came in a very close second, works on the same principle. It's teeming with microbial life that feeds the soil, not just the plant. That's the difference. Synthetic fertilizers feed the plant directly. These biological fertilizers feed the soil ecosystem, and the soil feeds the plant. Long-term, that's a healthier, more sustainable approach. Here's what I want you to do. Pick one of these free fertilizers, just one, and try it on a single plant this season. You don't need to overhaul your whole garden. You don't need to throw out your Miracle-Gro tomorrow. Just run your own test. One plant, your way. One plant, with compost tea or aquarium water. See what happens. I think the results will surprise you the same way they surprised me. And then come back and tell me about it in the comments. I want to hear what you tried, what worked, what didn't. That's how we all learn. By sharing real results. Not just repeating what some label tells us. If you want to go deeper on compost tea and how to brew it properly, I've got a full video on that. And if you're interested in setting up a simple worm bin to produce your own castings, that's another one worth checking out. This stuff builds on itself. Once you realize how many free resources are already in your home and your yard, it changes the way you think about gardening entirely. You stop being a customer and you start being self-sufficient. And that is the whole point. Try it this week. You already have everything you need.